Okay, so you're probably thinking, why does Miss Boston always make me draw out these problems using bar diagrams and algebra tiles? I just want to do it algebraically. And the reason why is because I want you to have an understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing it, instead of just memorizing a process. So I'm going to kind of relate what you are doing for your bar diagrams and your algebra tiles to what we're going to be doing today. So in number 2 on the problem you did yesterday, you had this whole bar diagram equal to 10, and you split it up into 2 groups. Each group was x minus 3. And to solve it, you took 10 and divided it into 2 equal groups to get 5. So then you knew that x minus 3 equals 5, so you had to figure out, okay, so what plus 3 gives, or what minus 3 gives you 5, and that is 8. Minus 3 gives you 5, therefore x equals 8. Okay, well, if we're talking about that and how we do this algebraically, we have 2 groups of x minus 3 is equal to 10. And we have 2, and that's multiplied to x minus 3. So doing the opposite operation, I would divide by 2, divide by 2. I would be left with x minus 3 equals 5. I have a negative 3, so I would add 3 to both sides. Made 0 pairs, x equals 8. That is the algebra style of what you did with your bar diagram. So that's one way that you can solve these problems. I like the second way that I'm going to show you, but you can choose how you want to do it. When you're using the algebra tiles, you did 4 groups of x plus 1, which is what I have here, is equal to 8, which is what I have on the right-hand side. You would either add 4 negatives or subtract 4. Subtract 4. 4x equals 4, therefore 1x equals 1. Or x equals 1. Okay, doing that way algebraically, I would distribute my 4. So I would get 4 times x, which is 4x, plus 4, which is what you got when you drew that out, is still equal to 8. Then I would solve algebraically. So I have a plus 4 with that variable, so to get rid of it, I would minus 4, which is what you did there. Oops, sorry, 8 minus 4 is 4. There's my 0 pair, but I'm still left with 4x. Then I split it into 4 groups, or in other words, divide by 4, so x equals 1. That's what you did algebraically when you drew them out with your algebra tiles. So let's do a couple of just algebra problems together. I'm going to be on page 482, and we're going to be looking at got it A, B, and C. Okay, so in your book on page 482, A, B, and C, I want you to write down what I write down. So I am going to do it the method 2 way. You can do it the method 1 way if you'd like, but make sure you get the same answer I do. So you always draw your line down the middle. I'm going to distribute my 2, or hand it out to everything inside the parentheses. So I get 2x plus 8 equals 20. Then I always work on the side that has the variable, so that left-hand side. So I have a plus 8, so I'm going to negative 8 or minus 8, which you do one side, you always do the other. That makes a 0 pair. 2x equals 20 minus 8 is 12. All right, since 2 and x are multiplied, I'm going to do the opposite, which is division. And I divide by 2, x equals 6. All right, on the next one, you're going to distribute or hand out that 3. So 3 times b is 3b, minus 3 times 6 is 18, and that equals 12. I always work on that side that has the variable. So I have 3b minus 18. To get rid of that minus 18, I'm going to add 18, which you do one side, you always do the other. Those make 0 pairs. I'm left with 3b. 12 plus 18 is 30. Since 3 and b are multiplied, I do the opposite operation, which is division. So I divide by 3, divide by 3. b equals 30 divided by 3 is 10. All right, and the last one, I have a negative 7, parentheses 6 plus d is equal to 49. So again, I distribute or hand out that negative 7. So negative 7 times 6 is negative 42. Negative 7 times a positive d, which would be a negative 7d, is equal to 49. I always work on the side that has the variable. At negative 42 minus 7d, I need to get rid of that negative 42. So I'm going to add 42, which you do to one side, you always do to the other. Those make a zero pair. I'm left with negative 7d. 49 plus 42 is 91. Since negative 7 and d are multiplied, I do the opposite operation, which is division. So I divide by negative 7, divide by negative 7. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. And 91 divided by 7 is 13. So your answer is negative 13. All right, so your assignment for today is on page 485, numbers 1 through 3, and you're going to use the algebra style that we just went through to solve those.